Guess who is doing another podcast about music? Just a couple of men without hats, wearing cardigans, using modern English to take you to Crazy Town. Now, we may try to throw a fastball your way, but don't worry, we won't burn the midnight oil too long, just till Tuesday. It's One Hit Wonders. This week on Nothing Good.
Well, that's a hell of an intro.
I don't have anything for these music intros except fucking puns.
As somebody who does puns as a part of his job, I admire the fuck out of that.
Why, thank you.
Like
sir.
I've got wood right now.
Thank you.
I'm not at like I didn't go from 6 to midnight, but I'm at least at 10:30.
You've got a pretty firm Chumbawamba.
Absolutely. I'm tub thumping right now.
We'll be talking about that. Guys,
Yes.
it's the show. Welcome back.
Yes,
Another
yes.
week.
I am wearing a hat though.
You are. I was really concerned about that when I was reading that, but I'll allow it.
All right. Should I take the hat off?
No.
Just
Hey,
to
keep it on.
keep it on? All right. All right.
Take your
It's
hat
regal.
off but jacket off.
Oh.
Jacket off all the time in the presence of this podcast.
So this is the second week in a row where we got Mac sitting in the chair
Hey!
with us.
I guess so nice. We asked him back for twice.
Apparently, I was allowed back in the neighborhood. They didn't call the cops on me yet.
No, not yet.
No, we haven't told my wife you're here yet. So, she hasn't called, anybody.
That's safer that way, probably. Yeah.
So how are you guys doing? We're getting close to Thanksgiving.
Doing
We're
great.
pushing into that time of the year.
It's my favorite holiday.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I like Christmas, and especially being a parent now, right? And that's super cool. That's what I gear towards. But as far as me, and the only time I really kind of focus on what I want all year is Thanksgiving and that goddamn plate. That first plate. It's like, I feel like a fucking battle strategist. I'm like, okay, I only have so much surface area. This thing has 12 inches in diameter. Okay. I gotta get my turkey, gotta go with my dark meat, gotta go with the stuffing. Dude, depending on what house I'm at, if I'm making dinner, there's collard greens, but if I'm going to, like, how white are my relatives, and I'm not gonna eat their mac and cheese or their collard greens, I will go to the fucking Boston market in, like, Shady Side, and I will get that shit to go, just to have it with my leftovers, like, 2 days later. But yeah, I'm a big Thanksgiving guy. How about you guys?
I don't like Thanksgiving at all.
What?
I don't like any of the food really associated with it, with the exception of a couple items. I don't
Really?
like turkey. No, I hate turkey.
How do you hate turkey?
It doesn't taste good. And before you tell me I've never had good turkey, I've had 5-star chef level fucking turkey. I've had turkey wrapped in fucking bacon, and I've had deep fried turkey. I've had turkey. Turkey's not that good.
I've seen you and our former roommate Ryan defile a turkey with a stick of butter.
Yeah, it
So-
still wasn't that good.
I mean, it had to taste a little better.
It tasted a little butter.
Your hand was you
like that?
Your hand was in
I
it.
did.
You did have a hand in it.
I had a hand in it already.
No,
Wow, this is a punny episode.
just going. You let it off.
Humana.
But yeah, I like good mac and cheese. But you can get mac and cheese. You can make it's not a Thanksgiving thing.
No.
That's really the only thing that I don't mind. Mashed potatoes, but again, not really a Thanksgiving thing. The thing that makes it Thanksgiving is turkey. I think turkey is not good.
I know people do ham.
I would
people
prefer
do.
to have ham.
I've seen people do chicken.
Yeah, a lot of people would do chicken. Yeah,
I'd rather just do pizza.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I mean, if Thanksgiving in this country is about any one thing, it's about making sure that you have a meal to remember all the indigenous people that we fucked over to get to where we are today. And at that point, it's your meal and your level of indigenous fuckery.
And see, I actually look at it the other way around, is that if there's anything more American than Thanksgiving, it's just, unnecessary gluttony.
Yeah.
So that's really where my process has been over the last few weeks. I start right before Halloween, and I really start working to expand my gut. And it's basically a 3-month trek through New Year's and just complete gluttony, and then basically crying through January.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like you just get. Now I know you are the largest proponent of a gobblerito that I've ever met.
I was going to mention it if you didn't, so I'm happy that you did.
Every time I see one, or anyone posts on Facebook about one, I assume it's you. And then I
Correct.
generally am upset when it's not, and then I go pop on your Facebook page and see what you've been up to
just to
lately.
make sure I'm okay.
Yeah, just make sure you're like, all right, there's a Gobblerito that you haven't claimed. Right.
So I am 2 Gobbleritos down so far
Beautiful.
this year, with at least one more to go leading up to the big day.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for those of you who have never heard of the Gobblerito before, it is a delicacy at a local Pittsburgh restaurant chain called Mad Mex.
Which is weird that we're talking about a Pittsburgh-based Mexican Tex restaurant, which there is. It's so weird and it's so bad in a lot of ways. But their fucking all-time signature dish is a Thanksgiving burrito.
This thing in this town, everybody, is it is an incredible delicacy. And what they do is they're going to take a tortilla shell and they're going to stuff it with turkey, stuffing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little closer to the mic here.
Get there.
You get there. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, corn, black beans, and then we're going to wrap that up, and we're going to put some gravy all over it, and give you a side of cranberry sauce.
Yeah, knife and fork.
Oh, knife and fork, absolutely. You have to.
Yeah.
The burrito, ladies and gentlemen, is, and this is not an exaggeration, it is absolutely the size of your head.
Yes, it's
So, and it is amazing. It's one of these things that I never knew that I would love, but as I discovered it many years ago, I make sure to try to get a couple every year. And I've gotten to the point where I used to not be able to finish it in one sitting, and now I can finish it. And, maybe have a little bit of an appetizer kind of tossed in there.
a little bit of something salty.
Maybe some tortilla soup.
Yeah.
They have some good tortilla soup there, or some shrimps and salsa. We'll get the pick a dipper there.
Yeah, very nice.
So,
very nice.
But it is a crazy delicacy. They start it in September, and they serve it through the day before Thanksgiving, and then one day in April, they bring it out. It's Gobblerito Day, and if you don't get your fucking Gobblerito by 2:00 in the afternoon,
You ain't getting it all day.
You are not getting it. They are
Nope.
sold out of this thing.
It's like if Mrs. T's Pierogi Factory, literally let you come up and kiss Mrs. T on the mouth. Everyone in Pittsburgh will line up for it, and that's how it is on Gobblerito
Is it
Day.
tongue or no tongue with Mrs.
Oh,
T?
if you don't fucking listen,
It's gotta be tongue.
You
Well,
got
I just wanna
tongue,
make
Mrs.
sure.
T, and you're like, oh, that absolutely is a classic cheddar and onion taste in Mrs. T's mouth. I feel bad for the person listening to this, and if you don't know what a Gobblerito is, I understand. You have to think, but if you haven't had a fucking pierogi or know what Mrs. T is, live your life. Especially you, Peru. Hey, Peru. What you doing, girl? Yeah, you feeling good? You feeling succulent? Succulent, Peru. But to end our Thanksgiving thing, I am not a Gobblerito guy as much as I am. There's a gas station here.
So
I have to go find
hold
high
on, wait.
quality dining.
Can we just recap the Pittsburgh dining scene here for
Yes.
everybody for just a second?
There's a gas station.
So first off, we're going to have a Pittsburgh-based Tex-Mex restaurant that serves Thanksgiving dinner and a burrito. And then we're going to
Amazing.
transition to the second Thanksgiving delicacy, which is served through the fucking gas station.
A chain of gas
A
stations.
chain of gas stations.
That have a surprising, listen, to some of our East Coast listeners, you'd be familiar with what Wawa is, or Sheetz, but the local, very specific Pittsburgh version is a place called Get-Go, and they have a sandwich called the Pilgrim. Now, I quite enjoy the Pilgrim because where the Pilgrim takes that Gobblerito kind of a sense, it uses stuffing bread. And that stuffing bread, oh my God. If that stuffing bread became sentient and came knocking at my door at 2:00 in the morning, and I'm like, and it's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I can't. My wife's here. My family's here. I have a family. My wife's in bed. And the stuffing bread was like, she'll never know. And I'm like, get in here.
That
Say anything.
That felt very much like the end of Up in the Air to me when George Clooney knocks on Vera Farmiga's door.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm here. I'm ready to commit. And she's like, my fucking family's upstairs. And then he has to go back to the airport and hop on the plane and fly home. That's how I felt when you just said the stuffing knocked on the door.
There it is.
And you're like, shh, my family's upstairs.
I have a family now. Except in my version of that, I drive I'll give you a ride to the stuffing bread, and I drive it around the block and bang it in somebody else's driveway.
Just cover it in gravy.
I come come back and my wife's like, what are all these crumbs everywhere? But welcome to the show.
Welcome to an episode about
This
music.
had absolutely nothing fucking to do with Thanksgiving. You can tell we're all hungry recording this fucking podcast. But it's once again, we're at the end of our trip around the horn, as we like to call it, because in our cycle of film, then wrestling, then video games, and then we always end up on music. And here we are. Today's one-hit wonders.
Yes.
Which is a weird subject. And I appreciate you guys humoring me for picking this, because as we will uncover, I think one-hit wonders does have a lot of definitions to everybody when you hear that term. But based off of what I wanted to try to do here to open the show is kind of give you the technical definitions. Of
I'm
one-hit
really
wonder.
interested in this.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of things to say.
It's not just a band that has one hit.
No, because then you have to define what is the one hit, right?
I wonder.
So the Merriam.
I got that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're so good. You're so good.
Three people in Albania fucking dropped on that joke.
I didn't even know we had listeners in Albania.
We-
but we do now.
We do now. We better.
fucking do now.
We better.
Someone's like, "Oh, did you make the Chumbawambas reference?"
I'm absolutely.
Fuck yes.
I'm
That was
absolutely gonna-
also a piss poor Albanian accent.
I just rolled my R's and just hope it's stuck somewhere in Europe. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to change the IP address so we have three people in Albania now. That's what I'm going to basically do.
That's next level metrics manipulation right there. I just thought if I really wanted to attract our Eastern European audience, I'd just wear a tracksuit and swish the whole time while I'm talking about it. So, and they say, "Oh, are we going to discotheque?" No, okay.
discotheque.
Okay, so let's start it off here. So, what is one hit wonder? Well, the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines a musical group. Defines it as a musical group that has achieved recognition on the basis of only one widely popular song. Now, the Urban Dictionary
this ought to be good.
Here we go.
defines a one shit wonder as when taking a dump, a person simply produces just one big long piece of shit that amazes the human eye. Although this will be the only piece of shit you'll be able to get out during your entire bathroom session, the joy that comes with it is immeasurable. Common feelings include deep satisfaction, amazement, relief, and a well sense of being. In context, I felt like my ass was gonna explode after all those tacos we ate, man. But instead, I just had a one shit wonder. The thing had to be a good 1.5 feet long. So satisfying. So soothing.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. But I feel like that should be saved for possibly another episode.
Another time.
I would really hijack this one.
Yeah.
In that case.
But the most accepted definition of what a one-hit wonder actually is, to a clinical term, was released by Rolling Stone. And when they described a one-hit wonder to the record industry, what the record executives refer to a one-hit wonder as, the strict definition is a one-hit wonder as an artist or band who only has one song make the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100
that
list,
changes things.
which is the standard definition, which is all musical genres combined. It's not the top rock list, it's not the top hip-hop list, not pop. The Billboard Hot 100 has been the definition of what a top hit is since the 50s, and it has to make the top 40. And you only have to be able to have one of them. So if you have a song come in at 39 and another song come in at 41, guess what, motherfucker? You're a one-hit wonder by the technical definition.
That's interesting.
Of the
I
term.
did not know
So there it is. I went like, okay, well, who really controls this fucking definition as to whether or not a band will get another album released or not? And we went there.
So the answer is Billboard.
Billboard.
Yeah, there it is.
Billboard, because it's proactively owned by the way, if you go to billboard.com and put in an artist and try to look at a thing, it will tell you one album and what the album charted as, and if you hit more, you hit a fucking paywall.
Get the fuck out of here.
Billboard. Like, who the fuck is gonna, like, oh shit, I gotta sign up for Billboard Pro?
Listen, I blame Napster.
Napster. We're gonna do an episode one time on Napster and LimeWire.
Oh God, I hope so.
And you know what? We should actually bring on as a guest of the show the fucking your parents' computer that you ruined.
Everybody knows at least one person who did that.
So many of them. It's like, yeah. Did you guys ever? I'm gonna ask you a question. Did you guys ever, when they did the Napster purges, did you have a fucking song that got you kicked off of Napster for that? Because I remember mine. Forgot About Dre. Because they did a scan of your library, and if you had one of the fucking songs from that artist on there, they kicked you off. And Dre got me for Forgot About Dre.
I did have Forgot About Dre on my Napster. I did download it through Napster. I don't remember. I don't know if I was still necessarily using Napster at that point in time.
Yeah, I don't think I was. I think I was on LimeWire at that point.
I was actually, I was very early on the iPod.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of put your music through your computer onto the iPod and also download songs that way.
Just kind of buy it and own it, and there it is.
And going back to us working together at Toys R Us, there was a promotion, I don't remember if it was through, I think it was through Pepsi, where you got, for every Pepsi that you bought, there is a code for a free download. Mm-hmm. And I fucking hoarded the shit out of that when that first happened, because nobody had an iPod at that point in time. So I'm like, oh, can I have your cap? And I had like 200 free downloads.
That's fantastic.
That
That's a
whole
lot
thing.
of codes to put in. That's
so that
genius, though.
that carried me through for, a couple of years almost at that point. So yeah, I kind of got off Napster before, the great purge started happening.
Good, wise man. Did you get booted, or you were off before that boot? Before Lars Ulrich became a piece of shit.
I'm pretty confident that
I'm pretty sure he was beforehand.
I did not experience the purge, because I'm pretty sure by that point I'd already moved on to LimeWire, and then eventually to BearShare, because I think BearShare came after LimeWire.
I think BearShare was my first dipping into torrenting. Because it was like, what it was is you would download a text file on BearShare, and it would be the link to the torrent for, I think the first game I ever torrented was like NHL 01 for the PC or something along those lines, and it was like, had to get 4 packs and follow the whole thing just to be able to play a game that I then realized my computer couldn't handle.
We've all done that.
Yes.
At least once.
So One Hit Wonder. So we do have a playlist on that you will find on any of our social media right now as you listen. I know you might be in your car or on the subway or something. If you want to pause and then wander over and then follow the playlist, it has some of the songs we're talking about today. But I want to drop a little sprinkle on something for you here today. Do you know what the technically most commercially successful one-hit wonder song is?
Is it on your list?
I did not add it to my list,
okay.
But you may have added it to your list. I can look and see.
So when you say commercially successful, are we
sold the most copies and made the
sold
most money at the same time for a one-hit wonder. And I promise you that it is such a one-hit wonder that I would be so super impressed if you could tell me who the actual artist that did it was. That's how successful the song was and how much of a one-hit wonder it is. That's why it's iconic as the quintessential one-hit wonder.
A part of me is hoping it's Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time.
No.
To reiterate my favorite joke about that, in 1992, Party All the Time was the low point of Eddie Murphy's career. In 2021, Party All the Time is the middle point of Eddie Murphy's career.
I'm trying to think, man. Like, it's got to be a one-hit wonder, which means I probably have never heard of anything else they've done previous or after. I got nothing.
You ready?
My official guess is going to be the Macarena.
It is the Macarena.
Yeah.
The Macarena is the most commercially successful, by far and away, the most successful one-hit wonder of all time.
That's a really good call.
Yeah.
Now, with the success of the Macarena,
Good call, Dave.
Thank you. That was the very first song on my list.
There it is.
Of one-hit wonders.
Quintessential.
Is that because of just how massive that song was?
Oh, yeah.
And pretty much, every third wedding you go to today, that song's going to be played at some point in time. Was it a one-hit wonder because that was the only hit they made, or was it a one-hit wonder because song was so fucking successful that they just said, "Fuck it, that's it, we're done. We don't have to do anything else after this." And Los Del Rio just kind of went off in the Macarena sunset, doing that dance the entire way through.
You know what? I would imagine that at some point that Macarena money got to run dry, right? And then you're like, "Oh, let's do another thing," or you just do remixes of the Macarena. I would
Remix. Sorry.
Bye. I'm gonna get that fucking joke over. I swear to God. But I wouldn't. I don't blame anybody, right? I don't blame anybody for doing that, because we also grew up in the 80s and the 90s, where if you were fucking like known as a character, like you were fucking Cousin Balky, or you were one character, you were that character on like 1,000. You were that character on Hollywood Squares. Family Feud Celebrity Edition, fucking Double Dare 2000, wherever you could be that character, you go. Okay. So I respect that idea that, I fucking wrote the Macarena. Shit, I don't gotta do anything else for the rest of my life. And in like 15 years, I'll just remix the Macarena. I respect that. So you don't have to, but I would still not be surprised if somebody's fucking pride said, I'm gonna try an album. And then you put it out and like 12 people download it. And you're like, you know what? Nope. We're going to do a 7 remix. We're going to do like Reanimation.
Reanimation for
But it's like
Macarena.
Remacamation? I don't know. But that's the most successful one-hit wonder of all time.
That does not surprise me one bit.
No, it really isn't
you still
surprising.
hear it to this day. I say you can't. There's very few forces in the world that are as powerful as white women who want to dance and be told exactly how to dance. You know, that's why you hear the cha-cha slide and all that other shit every time that a large group of white women show up. You're like, oh shit, someone's about to play the Cupid Shuffle right now, aren't they? And then the Macarena will go, and then as they get drunk, the electric slide will show up and the locomotion, you know, and then inevitably ends with conga by Gloria Estefan.
There is a segment in every single wedding that they will play those 6 songs basically in succession. And they don't do it right away because nobody's drunk enough to really get into it. You have to be drunk enough.
You can't leave with it.
No. But like after you've got the couples dance and then, you know, the groom's dancing with his mom and the bride's, you know, dancing with her dad, and then you do, you know, maybe the dance where people can give money and dance with the bride or groom and stuff like that. And then you've had like 10 minutes, or not 10 minutes, but probably like an hour of like actual good music that they really like to listen to. And people are really drunk and you're 3 hours clear from hors d'oeuvres and appetizers and drinks and everything else. Then we're going to go ahead and put the Macarena on and the place is going to fucking go crazy.
You know what the song that precedes that is someone now in 2021, you know it's about to be white people dancing time when someone puts Uptown Funk on. You're like, oh shit, and all the, oh my god!
And that's when they grab you to pull you on the dance floor because you're sitting there talking to your friends a little bit, and it's like, oh my god, this is my jam.
You have had 5 beers without moving, and so as you move, you're getting more drunk.
And at this stage in the night, their shoes are off.
Yes,
so they're fucking. They're really comfortable and they're ready to go.
Did you ever notice, like, there's a lot of relatives that you have when you go to a wedding that, like, your mom's friends or your aunt's friends, right? That you're like, I never really thought of it like this. But as soon as those song hits, those women, like, are completely unable to stand up straight. And it's just like, I've never wanted to see my mom's best friend's other best friends, like, boobs falling out while dancing to the cha-cha slide. Or I never wanted to see those women wobble, but now I gotta fucking sit here. Because if I walk away disgusted, now I'm going to be in trouble with my mom, right? You know, it's like, she's practically your aunt. That doesn't make it any better, Mom.
Right. Like, Karen was always there for you.
She was like it. She just thinks you look nice in your sweater today. It's like, listen, there's a lot of videos on the internet that start this way. I gotta fucking go. But regardless, so I have some data to go through.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Okay. And I know this is going to devolve into us just shouting songs at each other. You're like, yeah, or
Mambo number 5.
And I'm going to say this 8 times during this episode, but I have to say, fuck Trapped. Okay? Okay? Fuck Trapped.
Yeah,
and we're going to keep going into here. But I have 2 really interesting things to go with you here. So, scrolling past the Urban Dictionary definition, which is great. So one-hit wonders, based off the definition I said, again, has to be a song. Only one in the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100. Only one. You can have 1,000 outside of that top 40. But if you only had one, guess what, motherfucker? You're a one-hit wonder. I have bands that you would be surprised to find out are technically one-hit wonders. And I guarantee you may have a certain adverse reaction to some of these.
Oh, okay.
So,
good.
I'm going to start you off with a shocker. Yeah, 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
1 in the stink.
Use the pinky to hit the play on the Spotify. That's how you do it here. Shocker. Blink 182 is a one-hit wonder.
That's not surprising at all.
Number 6, All the Small Things hit number 6 in 2000, and they've never had a song break the top 40. outside of that.
I'm actually very surprised.
I'm
by
not
that.
surprised that you're that you are
Well,
surprised.
Blink-182.
Just only because, I mean, all the small things was
Huge.
Obviously, was massive.
TRL, huge.
But and this is where I'm going to have trouble with this particular podcast when I start thinking outside of the songs that I was thinking about, is I'm not going to be able to remember certain song titles. I want to say it was "Miss You." Is that?
I miss you.
Yeah. I'm very surprised.
I don't like
that
Blink-182, so that works
Yeah,
for me.
neither do I.
I am surprised that song did not crack 40. I'm not going to say number one, but
No.
if you gotta just kind of slip a finger in the top 40 and see how it feels.
I mean, just at least one knuckle deep,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But I also think you have to think in times when, especially as we get the songs that will, or artists that'll be around the late 90s to early 2000s, in order to crack the top 40, you don't just have to be at the top of your genres playlist, but it almost has to be kind of thin in other genres for you to get to that top 40, because we're in like peak commercialism at the end of the 90s and the early 2000s. So, yeah. And what's that other song where they go, "Here's your holiday"?
I believe that's called Holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's
that's
called?
Well, that's Green Day, a band I fucking hate. Oh,
Man, you really do. You really do.
I fucking hate Green Day. I don't really care. And let me just be real for a second. And I know how the significant others of people in this room feel about that. And knowing that they'll never listen to the podcast, I feel fine. Wait, don't talk. Don't stop. Wait. But to anybody listening to this podcast through any years and generations, I don't care who you are, what you do, and what kind of reaction that you would have to this. If you would even keep me in my basement and torture me for saying this, I don't fucking like Green Day. And if you do, if you fucking add any kind of credibility to that fucking bullshit, then there's only one thing that I can say to you.
Well, he's getting up.
He got up.
He's moved his chair a
He
little
did.
bit. Oh,
There's room.
he's running.
Fuck you!
Okay.
I feel strongly about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You feel better?
But yeah, that's not the holiday song from Green
Right.
Day.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about Green Day that I can and cannot share in my household.
can't.
But it's not that she knows that I'm not a Green Day fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she knows quite to the level that I'm not a Green Day fan, but I'm a fan of her. So if she wants to go to a Green Day concert, I will go, and I will find some, solace in trying to have fun at a Green Day concert. But, when they recently came through, I stayed home on that one.
Oh, you know what? And I appreciate that. First of all, they do sell beer at concerts, so
do.
it makes it easier.
Yeah.
As listen, we have to have relationships with people we love, and if it's important to that person that you love, then you can find a way to get through something, and I understand that. But Blink-182, are you ready? Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
What you just said about that concert.
Okay.
For the end of this.
Ooh, I think I know where we're going with that one.
Another act that you'd be surprised to find out is technically one-hit wonder, the White Stripes.
I'm not surprised. by
Also
that.
not surprised.
I'm not surprised
Just
by.
because it seems like for the last 15 years, Jack White has been fucking everywhere, and so I'm just surprised that he only had one song in the top 40.
What song was that?
Icky Thump.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not Seven Nation Army, which
Yeah.
you still hear.
Yeah.
The fact that
That's a
Manchester
jam.
City is hanging above my thing, and their fucking fight song is that every Premier League thing is fucking Seven Nation
Seven
Army.
Nation Army.
Yeah. It's either Hey Jude or Seven Nation Army, and that song's not in the fucking top 40. But that was surprising for me. Here's a classic one. Here's one for the dads. Jimi Hendrix.
Really?
One hit wonder. All Along the Watchtower in 1968.
Wow.
Was the
That is surprising.
reached number 20.
That's a little surprising.
So it wasn't even a number 1 hit. It was a number 20 hit.
As a Dave Matthews fan and having to hear that song at every fucking concert that they play, I'm not surprised that is the number one.
That's the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Not written by Jimi Hendrix. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. Bob
Yeah.
Dylan.
Bob Dylan wrote that one. Yep.
And the one that surprised me so much that I actually got a little irritated with it. Right? And when I mentioned it to my wife, she was like really responsive until I said this one, and she fucking shut down. Like she got angry. Weezer. Weezer is technically a one-hit wonder.
Also not surprising.
I mean,
Are we sure
It's
that
not.
that's... Are we sure that that's the case now, though? Because didn't their cover of Africa, didn't that crack the top? I feel like that had to have cracked the
Top of the rock charts.
No shit.
No, only one song in the Billboard Top 40. Beverly Hills in 2005.
Which is not even a great one.
It's not a good
not
song.
even like
it's
one
like
of
the worst Weezer song.
It's
But
not
you know what?
even in
It
the
makes
top.
sense because that song was incredibly popular.
It was.
very
It was.
poppy.
I would have thought like there's only 2 Weezer songs I really don't like. That's one of them, and Island in the Sun is the other one. And I'll even like allow if I'm like cooking on the grill and Island in the Sun comes on, I won't reach to turn it off, but I won't ever actively seek to put it on. But I thought that would have been the fucking song to be number one. Not Buddy Holly, not any of that other shit, but no, Weezer is technically a one-hit
Buddy
wonder.
Holly wasn't a top 40?
No. Man, that just tells you how stacked the 90s were. That fucking song, or any of the other fucking songs from any of these other artists in the early 2000s didn't fucking crack it. Didn't crack a top 40 song.
Well, when you say it that way, I'm surprised, but I'm not, because I'm sure as this is something we'll be talking about as we really dive into this and get, like wrist deep. Is that
I like it. Lose your watch in it.
it's I'm not gonna lose it is
watch
yeah,
in it.
yeah.
No, excuse me, your fitness tracker now. These
Yeah.
days, which
thank
are
you.
way
Smartwatch.
easier to come off inside
It's
somebody,
my
I
basic.
wouldn't. No, I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to pause. You fucking sit on your high horse and say that you don't know what it's like to fist somebody so deep that you lose your Fitbit tracker, that you wouldn't fuck the Sega Channel person, that you wouldn't let the Gobblerito go down on you in a Mad Max parking lot while you're trying to look for a Best Buy gift card that you lost.
Yes.
How fucking dare you, sir?
How I was step into your studio and offend you.
I just got lightheaded. That was one of those when I would be laughing for 22 minutes straight and just not stop and just be in tears by the end of it.
Oxygen is optional at that point. But yeah, those are all technically one-hit one. They are technically one-hit wonders. Are you ready for surprising acts?
Yes.
That aren't one-hit wonders technically, because when you think about those bands, you could probably each one of those bands or artists think of a couple other songs, right? And you're like, oh, how did that not? Oh, I guess not. Here are some artists that technically are not one-hit wonders, and I'm gonna start with a heavy fucking hitter right now on this list. Flock of Seagulls. Jimi Hendrix is a one-hit wonder. Weezer is, but a Flock of Seagulls is technically not a one-hit wonder.
I'm not even sure I know who they are.
They did the song "I Ran So Far Away." You would know it from
sure
the
I
fucking
would.
Vice City. It opens Vice City.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Okay. That band is not a fucking one-hit wonder.
How
technically.
much of a song are we allowed to hum or sing before we're logically going to get sued?
Well, because the rule, I can't use the original, but if we just start singing,
just
I ran
start
so far
singing.
away right now.
Okay.
There's nothing a flock of seagulls.
There's nothing
I
they
think
can-
a flock of seagulls might text me and say thank you for that. But a flock of seagulls. Okay, ready for some more? And
Yes.
some of these I'm going to go ahead and say is also my own personal thing that I can't believe they had more than one technical song. Papa Roach.
Ooh.
Papa Roach is not a one-hit wonder because that fucking Scars song that came out a couple years after Last Resort, that fucking did it in.
I'm assuming Last Resort was the initial.
Was the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last Resort and Scars.
Those were some pretty big popular songs.
They were. We can't think of any other Papa Roach songs that you would, let's say hypothetically, that Drew or Jeff didn't just text us in a group text that we would ever want to
By the way,
say.
fuck that song.
That song is not good.
No, it's really irritating me.
I liked the beat until somebody, I don't even know who it was, opened their fucking mouth on that song, but I can't find. Swerve or something, was that what it was?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think
No.
I gave it like a legit 30 seconds before I just turned it off.
Starts with that weird sampled acoustic guitar. Cool.
Yeah.
And then as soon as someone opened their mouth, I was like, right.
Horns could not save it.
Speaking of things that couldn't be saved, and this is a Christian reference, POD is not a one-hit wonder. Which you would think about what the fuck out. POD was like a thing from like 1999
to 1999.
Yeah.
That album
But they had
that,
fucking two of them, man.
well, that was what Southtown was one, was right?
Southtown was not a top hit.
It was not.
No, it
I
was
thought
Boom and Alive.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that one.
It's a Christian rock band?
They are very Christian.
I didn't realize
They didn't
that.
start that way, but I guess in order to save their careers, they found Jesus.
They found Christ.
After Southtown was a badass song, though. I
It
fucking
was.
love that song.
I mean, Aaron Lewis found country music, so we all do what we have to do to survive.
I don't know. Aaron Lewis. You ever see him live? You ever seen Stain live? You ever have the displeasure of seeing Stain live?
No.
If you saw them live in the late 90s, early 2000s versus seeing him live now, it is... I saw some like imagery. He looked like my neighbor who was watering his lawn, like how I envisioned him, like back in the early '90s, all black, the long jeans, the chains,
JNCOs,
the piercings and everything. And then I saw like a video of him doing a performance from like this past summer, and he just kind of looked like some dude who was just putting his groceries in his car.
So that's amazing. He looks like that dude from 90 Day Fiancé that everyone's been using on a meme template.
Oh my
The long hair.
God.
That's what he looks like now. But the greatest disappointment was seeing Stain live. Homeboy, you said he found country music. He needed to find a breath of air because the first song, motherfucker, gets blown up. And it's just, welcome on the outside for fucking 90 minutes. And I was like so excited when they started, and by the end I'm like, fucking go. I got somebody else to see at the end of this show. Fucking go. But Stained, also not a one-hit wonder, but here. So POD. All right, and then here's my own two surprise things. Not a one-hit wonder. Savage Garden. Not a one-hit wonder. I did not know that was the kind of band that people had crushes on.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my friend, a mutual friend we all know that I grew up with, she loved that group.
Yeah.
With a passion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, she would go on and on about it. And I'd go, I don't care.
Did she want to take them with a Jerry Cola?
I'm assuming.
Was that one of them?
That was one of the lyrics on one of the other B-sides.
No, I'm just trying to think if that was one of the songs, because like I know that they had two like real big love ballads.
Yeah,
like
Truly Madly Deeply.
Yeah. I knew I loved you before I met you. Yeah.
How many prom songs do you think Savage Garden was responsible for? Do you think you get to play an actual prom today?
Well,
I don't know how many prom babies that they're responsible for.
Dumpster babies responsible for
boy.
Savage Garden.
How many kids' middle name are Garden? Oh my God. Well, it's talking about prom songs and circle.
I just thought, like, for a second, in that split second, I just went through someone's whole life growing up. Like, this is my son, Braden Garden. And it's like, oh my God, Braden. No, and it's just like him growing up being Garden.
Garden.
Yeah, and then President Braden Garden, Andrew Johnson. I don't know. I don't know.
My parents were always there for me, and I was successful because of it.
I knew you. I loved you.
Yeah, before I met you.
It's your Braden Garden. Can you imagine yelling, being mad at that kid at the Toys R Us? Braden Garden! Get back here right now. Sorry, but keep going.
Well, I also think, later on in life, when they meet their significant other and then she starts screaming out his middle name in passion, she's like, oh my God, Garden, Moby, plow me, please.
Oh my God. I thought you said Moby.
Nobody's ever said that.
First of all, I feel like now I have to yell Moby in a state of sexual bliss. My wife is going to be so mad. I'm gonna Moby. Here we are going down to the south side. That's the only Moby song I know.
I don't know any Moby songs.
You don't know South Side by Moby?
No.
South Side, because I'm from Pittsburgh, so it's South Side. South Side with Gwen Stefani, 2002.
I know who Moby is because Eminem didn't like him.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. The bald guy.
Yeah.
You ever watch the show Community?
No.
No? Okay.
I know what it is, but I never watched it.
Yeah, well, there's a guy, Dave, you ever watch Community? Yeah, the dean on Community looks like, I have never seen Moby's face, but I've seen, like, the album that they used to have on the poster at Best Buy was just a bald guy with headphones. Yeah. And so I just picture in my headcanon that the dean from Community is fucking Moby.
I'm afraid of Noah's headcanon.
You don't go in there.
I'm afraid of what would be in there. What goes on? Because what he lets out and filters out for us is oftentimes horrifying.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
There's a whole subsection on if you accidentally leave your phone unlocked around me, I know the exact spot to get naked Peter Dinklage that will be your phone wallpaper. It will be. Very tasteful, but very naked Peter Dinklage.
Oh, yeah, Lannister always pays his debts.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
There you go.
So as you mentioned Moby, my basically my entire like concept of Moby was from an episode of like MTV Cribs. and they were going through his house and he had fucking nothing in it. And it just pissed me off. I was unnaturally angry because he's taking us through this amazing house in like the middle of the woods somewhere that has like
Nothing in it.
Moby's got a house in the middle of the forest. Come here.
And he has this like cool observation tower and stuff like with it because he's like, oh, you can like do stargazing and shit. And it's like, there's nothing in this fucking house.
She's not like a supervillain?
Except one room where there's like a fucking million albums because he's a DJ. And that's like the only thing he has in his house. I'm like, fuck, have a hobby or something. Like, Jesus, you've got fucking a lot of money.
This is the room where
something.
This is the room where I have photos that I've scratched all the eyes out of. This is my skin room. I feel like, I don't know, like Moby would be the kind of person who unironically, like, who just starts going into like Saruman shit from Lord of the Rings. The age of men will fall. You will taste man flesh. Just starts fucking getting into it. And realize this isn't an episode of Cribs. Thinks you're the cameraman. You're just there. You just needed to ask directions. Hey guys, come on in and see. Actually, I think Moby would technically be a no-hit wonder.
No, he's in fact a no-hit wonder.
No disrespect to Moby, but fuck you. And the last one that is a verifiable one-hit wonder that I was surprised to find out, or that isn't a one-hit wonder and I'm surprised to find out, is 98 Degrees. That one, honestly, I've saved it for last because I swear to God, I can't name one fucking 90 Degrees song. I think this, I Promise You, might be one of them. It was one of those weird wedding songs.
Yeah.
What's going to be great is he's going to sit here and tell us how he can't name one 98 Degrees song, and then he's just going to go fucking rattle off the names of 10 98 Degrees songs. He's like,
You know what's the thing about fucking 98 Degrees is I can say some shit and you'd be like, oh yeah, that one. I'm like, yeah. So, Hey Girl, do you know that song, right? Or it's like, yo, I got sideburns. Or my dad owns a dealership.
He's sitting over there like, I can't name one 98 Degrees song was that I Knew I Loved You Before I Met You. He's just shouting fucking lyrics. Look, you cannot underestimate the power of the late 90s, early 2000s pop wave.
No.
That came
so
through.
strong.
TRL, dude.
And what those artists, yeah, TRL, absolutely. What TRL was able to do for that genre specifically, and you know what we even still get today. I mean, it started off really with like Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys, but once those two hit, everybody was in a rush to get as many of those types of acts out as possible because they were gold mines.
Well, I think we all ultimately have, obviously the pop machine had been going for decades before that, but I think we really got the Spice Girls to thank for that. Because the Spice Girls were like, oh, here's a pop group is back in style, and hot chicks are back in style. So let's separate the two. Here's a pop group, and then here's a girl that's going to wear a schoolgirl outfit for video number one, and a red leather outfit that is like it's not a camel toe, it's a full on moose knuckle for video number two. And now we're off to the races.
Yeah.
And then you just sprinkle a bunch of angry white guy music over top of that. And there is 1999 and 98 and 2000.
Basically
explains a lot.
Yeah.
That was like 14 straight VMAs that you just described right there. And Eminem sitting in the audience just pissed.
Pissed off that he's getting so much money in awards. How dare they? But that's it. So also one little thing too. And I wanted to open this up to you guys.
Yes.
Is there anybody that you had pegged when they first came out as a one-hit wonder? Oh, this is a flash in the pan. That you would ultimately have proved to be wrong about? Let me start you off with one. And then you guys go. I would have thought for the first time I heard that song, that Lil Nas X and Old Town Road would have been a one-hit wonder because it was just the right amount of I appeal to white people, old white people at Walmart kind of a thing, to say one and done. But he's absolutely proved everybody wrong, and he's making so much money and they're charting all over the place. A lot of money. So is there anybody you thought of as like, oh, this is a fucking thing? And then no. And ended up being a whole fucking thing. Anyone off the top of your heads?
Honestly? Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, no. I mean...
Nobody you've naysayed and then if proven out to be...
Naysayed a lot of people.
Like, not fucking Sega Channel. I heard you. I'm never going to forget that. Call back to an episode in the archives of you not having sex with this. The Sega Channel came to your front door and it splayed itself before you. It wasn't tastefully nude. It just spread itself out like a buffet. And you said no.
I said I'd spoon it.
You said you would cuddle it, but you wouldn't fuck it. No. And it knows. It's going to take it, but it'd wish you had taken it the next step.
What about you, Matt?
Speak for Sega Channel. Don't try to change this.
People who did not listen to that episode is going to hear this and go, what the?
No, they're going to have listen to this episode.
They're going to have to go back and listen to the previous episode to see what all the fuss is about.
To the last 5 minutes of the Sega Channel episode, and you listen to her watch it as the Sega Channel presents itself to him and says, "Take me." And he's like, no. But I'll spoon you. I don't know. How about you? Has there anyone you've ever naysayed and then has become a bigger hit than you thought?
You know, I'm trying to, as you say that, I'm trying to think, you know, like who would fall into that category. You know, I guess one of the first ones I would probably go with, and you know, I imagine that he's not a one-hit wonder at this point, but would probably be Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
You know, and or just some of those, just the, you know, like maybe Harry Connick Jr. So some of those crooners,
yeah,
who, because it's not a type of music that really gets an audience these days. But you know, of course, they're very talented singers, so you know, they're able to kind of push through. So, Hoobastank, maybe. I'll go throw Hoobastank in there as maybe another one. You know, The Reason was not the first single that came out, but when that song hit, it hit real hard.
I'm surprised they haven't come up on my research to being a one-hit wonder or not.
Oh, I think The Reason, that song was
a big song.
Was 2 years big. Like, that didn't go away for a long time. But they had a couple of songs early, because I'm thinking about, like, just that genre of that, you know, early 2000s where they were trying to do the hip hop rock hybrid.
Yeah.
You know, Linkin Park came on and they were massive, and then Incubus comes on and not quite as massive, but still really good.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, when you talk about some of these bands where you start getting towards the one hit wonder piece, is the trickle down effect.
Yes.
Which we kind of get because, as you just mentioned, right? You start with Britney Spears and you start with Backstreet Boys, and then you get Christina Aguilera and then NSYNC, and then you get Jessica Simpson, and then you get 98 Degrees, and then, you know, down the line,
gets more and more great value.
Yeah. As
you go down. Yeah.
And then down the line you get I actually just thought of one as I was talking about this. Down the line you get Dream. From like the women's side of exactly. The fact that you're shaking your head, you don't even know what I'm talking about.
I thought you were going to go like Bewitched
or O-Town, right? You start to get to the law of diminishing returns,
you know what?
right?
We have a talk though. It's because O-Town to me, and I'm sorry, I don't want to jump in there, but O-Town to me seems like somebody wrote a song, because before Backstreet Boys, we had Boys to Men, which are fucking. I don't care. You could be like, you could have a knife to my throat, and they say something bad about Boys to Men, or I'm cutting. I'm like, just cut me. Just fucking cut me. Because that's iconic shit.
There is an entire generation of listeners to this podcast who are born because of Boys to Men.
Yes.
You ain't lying.
I have seriously bought like a vest and shirt combo because I'm like, oh, that's some Boys to Men shit.
Yeah.
But regardless of the fact that it's like 20 years after Boys to Men's heyday, I fucking needed it in my life. I thought O-Town, because you had Boyz II Men, and then, like we said, it's going down, you had All for One,
Right.
and all that shit, and I thought, O-Town, someone wrote a song that would have fit those fucking groups, but when they saw that that was waning, they put that shit on the peg. And then when Backstreet Boys came out, they're like, I got something.
Right.
All or Nothing, which is a song that would have worked like 9 years ahead of time. If Boyz II Men would have done it, that would have been like the fucking song. Everyone was like, oh my God, All or Nothing. But the fact that it was O-Town, like S Club 7 level kind of a fucking band, right? Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. Somebody in 1993 wrote All or Nothing and put that shit in a notebook on a shelf and said, one day.
So the band that I will go ahead and throw out there that I'm unbelievably surprised was a one-hit wonder, because I've actually I've seen archival footage of their concerts, and their music fucking slaps. It slapped then, it slaps now, it's gonna slap always. It was a band out of Erie, PA called The Wonders.
You son of a bitch. That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Do. And they just said that's
Eerie.
the only song they have. But then you go watch the footage of the Iowa State Fair.
Oh, yeah.
And their other songs are fucking great.
Dance With Me.
You can't sit there and tell me, come on, pretty baby. Come on and let it go.
So one day, we are going to absolutely have to do a podcast on that movie.
Yeah.
Because, A, it's a fucking incredible movie. And it has no business slapping as hard as it fucking does.
But it does.
But I will save it. It's the rare thing I'll save for a future podcast. That my wife was mentored by someone who co-wrote that soundtrack.
No shit.
No, absolutely true.
Really?
Absolutely true.
That's really cool.
So
That's really cool.
to that idea of that, and she absolutely has to be on it, because that's when we met, one of the reasons that we connected is because what's one of your favorite movies? That Thing You Do. She's like, oh my God, that's That Thing You Do. And then it became one of those things that for one whole soundtrack, in the 90s, my mom had this big red fucking minivan that all of us would pile into, and we drove to Virginia Beach, and the only thing that we listened to was that fucking soundtrack on fucking repeat, because spoiler alert, as we'll find out in a future episode where she comes on, Jackie listens to one song for fucking ever. For fucking ever. You're like, who's that one person? Oh, this song has 305 million downloads. Jackie encompasses 70% of those 305 just playing it over. And that was the That Thing You Do soundtrack. So I have to talk about it, but that's a great call. Technically, a one-hit wonder, which is so ironic because the movie's about a band.
That's a one-hit wonder.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking, and you kind of put me on the spot with that question, which was a great question.
And you were doing your research.
And I was thinking to myself, well, there are more bands that I can remember not liking, and then they just go away, right?
Yeah.
Than the ones that kind of just keep going. I don't know if that makes any sense for me. It's more memorable to me when they just disappear for some reason. However, there is one artist that I fucking hated.
Oh, please.
And I was like, this motherfucker.
I'll pull my nips out for this one.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So, and he just, for reasons beyond my comprehension, has just not. I mean, he's kind of gone now, but he was around for a long fucking time, way longer than I felt he had any business being in the music industry. Fucking Nelly. Look, his shit's catchy. I'm not allowed to say it's not catchy, but fuck his music. I
Yeah.
just never dug it. Never dug it. I didn't
It's a weird tone.
I didn't like his style. I didn't like his fucking voice. There's one song he did I dug a little bit.
Which
and that
one?
was number one.
Oh, okay.
That's a good jam.
I mean, for me, it's Pimp Juice, just because
It's Pimp Juice.
it's Pimp Juice because Drew, who would say is and being honest, Drew is the and during our fledgling independent wrestling career, Drew is the quintessential babyface. All right, and no matter how in real life he is
He's a fucking heel
piece of shit, and you know who you fucking are and what you're doing. But when around a group of people, for some strange reason, Drew is extremely likable. And I was
I've never got that.
no, and I was like, if you could be a heel, what song would you pick? And this is years after Nelly's heyday. He's like, I picked Pimp Juice by Nelly. And so I put it on. I'm like, I see it. I would scream terrible things at Drew if that song was on. But that's it. Was he on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
He gets a pass for anything that was on that because that movie's fucking incredible. And I don't
Bad Boys 2? Bad Boys 2 is not that good.
No, dude, that movie.
The first one is infinitely superior in every single way.
First of all,
every single way, and you know it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I'm so allowed to love Bad Boys 2.
You can love it and be wrong.
And so let me say, the original Star. First of all, fuck you. I don't know if I've ever told you "fuck you" on this show before. I say it to Peru.
I think it's a first.
I think, yeah, and I'll say this again and I have to be real because the thing I draw the line at is Bad Boys 2.
This clearly is where the friendship is going to start to
fuck
to
you.
veer.
You know, let me just cover my grounds here. Bad Boys 2. Fuck you. The Golden Globes. Fuck you. Okay? I'm covering everybody here.
We're never getting invited to present on that show.
No. I'm not getting invited to a lot of shit.
I heard the basket's very nice there.
I'm not allowed to say that even though Empire and Jedi are way better than the original Star Wars, I can still say I like the original Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I will agree with you on Empire, not Jedi.
You don't like Jedi?
I like Jedi, but I don't think it's superior to A New Hope.
That is going to alienate an entire 0% of our audience because nobody listens to this. But Jesus Christ.
Listen, I wanted to say, we have at least right now,
There's some
3
heat.
or 4 listeners that I know personally who've listened to almost everything we've done so far.
There's like an average amount of people, which I don't want to say the number because I don't want to jinx it, that have consecutively been listening to every single episode within the first week. So thank you. And if you guys are the kind of people that feel that Star Wars A New Hope is in fact superior to Jedi, fuck you. As well as give respect to Bad Boys 2. And you know, while we're at it,
Now, here we go.
fucking Super Mario Brothers movie is
Oh
fucking
my
better than
come
you
on.
think it
No,
is.
it's
Okay?
not.
movie's
And
fucking
I'm
terrible.
not gonna fucking sit here and say that it's a good fucking movie.
It's a terrible
'Cause
film.
It's not a good movie,
absolutely
but
horrible.
it's better than you think it is.
No.
You know what? And while we're at it, okay, let me
What did Dennis Hopper do that he had to fucking do that movie as King Koopa, and he's not a fucking dragon
A lot
at
of
all?
cocaine, and you owe money to people. Okay, until you've loved and lost the way that Dennis Hopper has, you don't fucking get to come. And while we're at it, let's just say the Hobbit trilogy was shit, and don't come for Rise of Skywalker because that was decent, but the Last Jedi was also fucking better than either of those movies in that trilogy. Okay,
So the Rise of Skywalker being Return of the Jedi Part 2, Jedi not as hard because it actually sucks dick.
get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house.
The only Rise of Skywalker I got was when I got on my fucking seat to leave and turn the credits.
I have been risen from Rise of Skywalker for the entire time, if only for the fucking soundtrack. It's a series of movies about space wizards that fight with laser swords. What are you fucking putting so much into this for?
Listen, if you're going to have a fucking movie that has a climax in which I'm all the Jedi and I'm all the Sith, and you're not going to fucking show me a shot of all the fucking Jedi behind Rey to, like, back her shit up in the middle of this Sith fucking temple of fucking Tootsie Roll turds that are bumping up and down that nobody can fucking see for any goddamn
I have no idea what those
reason.
were. I have no idea what
nobody
those were.
does.
No one does.
But you're just going to sit there, okay, we're going to do voiceovers because we don't want to pay their rates because this movie is already $250 million, but we don't want to make it $275. Show me the fucking Jedi, and then maybe my dick would get a little bit hard in that fucking movie instead of basically watching Return of the Jedi Part 2, but not as fucking good.
Okay. Very few things are going to be as good as the original Return of the Jedi. Let's get this thing, including A New Hope, which is less good than fucking Return of the Jedi. But let me just I know we're supposed to be talking about whatever the fuck when we officially hijacked this fucking episode.
This got off the
done.
rip.
Who gives a shit about one hit wonders at this point? I'm gonna fucking say I had to fucking deal with decades. A motherfucker saying they'll never make a prequel, they'll never make a sequel. And I had to fucking sit there and watch Attack of the fucking Clones, okay? I had to sit there and fucking verbally and physically deal with that shit. So I don't care. Rise of Skywalker could have been Palpatine. Opens up, the scroll comes up and says, Palpatine has returned somehow. And then it's just a fucking poop emoji, fucking scrolling up through the top. And then it opens up and Daisy Ridley is sitting there, face focused on there, and starts squeezing one out. We don't see it. We just hear it plop. And at that point, it's still fucking better than Attack of the Clones. So if I had to deal with that, yeah, I'm fucking stoked. I'm not listening. You know what?
When we get to a... It's interesting. One of our listeners...
one of them.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to...
The one that's left now. I'm sorry.
Well, one who's like one-hit wonders, and now we're just talking about Jedi?
Well, so I keep this... I put the idea out there, right? Like, so he and I were talking about the different episodes, and he was like, man, I can't wait for you guys to cover, like, Star Wars. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, and I was like, it's a little weird that we haven't really even broached the idea of it. I'm like, it's going to have to be something very special, and he would very much like to be a guest on it, because he's probably the biggest Star Wars fan I think I know. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, when we record this, it's going to be something else, because friendships might end.
Yeah.
As a look at the two of you motherfuckers.
Listen, we've already fucking survived that fight.
We've been through some stuff.
We have,
okay,
absolutely.
And there's
we
nothing
came up on that on the other side.
We did.
Stronger.
It's like fucking. And for the listener to give a short version of it, episode 3 wasn't out yet, and Mac and my friendship was taken to the fucking brink.
To the brink.
To the brink. But we came back from that.
That's
okay?
right.
So there's nothing that anyone else is going to throw at it. But I would say one thing. If we do Star Wars thing, I would insist on one fucking thing. I want 10 minutes to rant about Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, the game. Because I fucking love that game so much.
I just got it.
Really?
I did.
Yeah, on what system?
On N64.
So good, dude.
I got my girlfriend's brother, whether he knows it or not, gave up his Nintendo 64 and all this games. So
you have been appropriated.
Listen, Jim. Your mom gave it to me because she said you didn't want it. I don't know if you did or didn't, but it's at the house. So, but there was Pod Racer, there was Bounty Hunter.
Oh, okay.
And there was Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire.
So we know he has good taste in games, right?
Yeah, Ben Hawk.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but that is now at my house. So, and that's a great game.
Enjoy your love.
I will.
That is going to be so good. It's one of there's only a few games in my life that I've ever bought multiple times across multiple systems, and Episode 1 Racer is one of them. I have it for the 64. I bought it for the Dreamcast. I have it for the Nintendo Switch, and I have it for the Xbox One. And I know. Yeah, it's a shitty racing game, but it's my fucking shitty racing game.
I don't like that game at all.
You know what, Doc?
I just don't.
You know, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Good, because you're already thinking
going to say it. Fuck you! You come from episode 1. You come in my house.
And not like Pod Racer.
Bad Boys 2.
Oh, yeah, fuck that movie.
Don't say fuck that movie. Fuck
that movie.
It
was not funny.
I can't even put words. You know what? I don't know what this episode was on originally.
One-hit wonders,
One-hit
you
wonders.
fuck.
One-hit wonders.
Yeah.
You know what's not a one-hit wonders? The fucking Bad Boy series, because Bad Boy 2 was badass, okay?
It was okay.
It didn't suck.
It was not as bad as
suck?
Bad Boys 3.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I didn't dig the story. The subplots were weak as shit.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no.
But,
Wait a minute.
but listen,
Yeah, I said
you're,
subplots in a Bad Boys film, yes.
you're talking about Michael Bay when he was given leash to Michael Bay.
It's the only Michael Bay I'll tolerate is the Bad Boys movie.
But you do see the law of diminishing returns from Bad Boys 1 to ultimately Bad Boys 2, which is around the time Armageddon hit in, and then everything else just went on a steep fucking decline from there.
The
Right?
last movie I saw in the theater before COVID hit was Bad Boys 3.
Nice.
We did damage to a Buffalo Wild Wings
Oh,
before
yeah, we
Bad
did.
Boys. We got serious. I felt bad for the waitress at the Buffalo Wild Wings. I went to there, and I went to the snack bar at the rest. At the thing. I was like, "You guys got beer?" I was keeping a party going.
I've seen Bad Boys 2 once. And I was like, never wants this shit again.
Wow.
Gabrielle Union, no.
Yeah, well, I've seen it in
Gabrielle
other
Union's in
movies
that movie.
where she's better in them.
No, it doesn't
But
matter.
more importantly, look, Bad Boys 1 is so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so fucking
It is
good.
so good.
That, like,
It's so fucking
Yeah.
good.
the second one just didn't even reach the levels of comedy, of relatively believable
come on.
action.
You know what? You know what I'm going to do when
Yeah,
we
what are
put
you
this
gonna do?
episode out? I'm going to put a one-hit wonder / Bad Boys 2.
Well, so, if you look at Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1 was a commercial and critical success.
It was huge.
So there were no expectations when that movie came out. Will
No.
Smith was not Will Smith yet.
No, he was barely Will Smith.
He was in terms of being a lead actor in action movies or anything, which of course was the thing of the time during the early to mid 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, 97, I think
who's
Bad Boys
going to be
was.
the next Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, where are we moving in that direction? That movie was, I mean, at least from my perspective, had relative obscurity, but Bad Boys 2 did not. So, you don't know,
release.
you do not know what kind of hands were in that movie that could have shaped it to be the way that it was.
Yeah.
So,
I guess got to add into that you didn't say the comedy there is, but that scene where Will Smith and Martin Lawrence intimidate Martin Lawrence's daughter's boyfriend at the door is fucking amazing.
That's funny.
It's amazing. And here's the thing, though, too. I think, and I would not be, and it's just my perspective on it.
Yeah.
When Bad Boys 1 came out, Martin Lawrence was the bigger star than Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And like how fucking quick that turned going into the end of that decade.
Independence Day happened.
Well, Independence Day was a year before.
Still,
Yeah. And what did Wild Wild West?
We don't talk about
That
that
was
bullshit.
after.
No, but I'm saying, but still, shitty movie. And I do love Kevin Kline, but I mean that just no matter how shitty it was, it made money. It made a whole lot of money. And I think, isn't it the last time Drew Hill ever was together? Was in that song.
and
Probably.
they
One-hit wonders.
They were they on the list of one hit wonders?
But the lead singer for Drew
But
Hill,
Cisco, however.
Cisco is. And let's bring it back.
which-
We hope you've enjoyed our sub episode on Bad Boys 2.
Star Wars
I'm
Bad
fired
Boys.
up about it now.
And now onto
I'm
something
fine about
completely different.
How long?
So in the number,
Necessarily.
if you joined us for the last episode, I brought up the idea of having a Family Feud style board up on the wall when we're recording, and every single time in this episode where Noah has gotten a running start and ran towards Herb, I'm just like, "Fuck you!" I feel like I heard ding and just right up there, "Fuck you!"
I'm gonna
just
mount the
popping
TV
up.
right here where we record. So I guess let's kind of reel it in.
Yeah.
We went off.
You reel it in.
I exist on the fucking fringe of this shit. I feel like in a way I'm always thinking about both Star Wars and Bad Boys 2. I didn't realize that was such a trigger point for me.
We know now.
And we know now. I feel like I'm going to tell strangers that. Hi, my name is Noah. By the way, Bad Boys 2 is fucking good. And if you don't think so, fuck you. But let's kind of wrap up one hit wonders here with a quick question.
Wait. Now we
Wrap
haven't
up.
really
We barely even talked
we haven't
about
talked
it.
about it yet.
By wrapping up,
lists.
it's still going to be like 45 fucking minutes.
Like I haven't gone through any of my picks.
But what I'm going to say is I'm going to
Yeah.
toss it over to you guys for saying, what's some iconic one-hit wonders?
Well, no. So here's the thing, right? Originally, I'd like the subject. This is going to be a little tricky to kind of go through and figure out how we're really going to talk about it. We've done a good job so far, but since
Yeah.
you've given the actual definition, well, that because I don't fucking know if half of these songs are actually one-hit
Who
wonders.
gives a shit? That was an hour ago.
The 5 people who listen.
That was an hour ago.
It was.
That was before
It
I
was.
looked dead in your eyes.
things are
and told you fuck you for the first time ever because of Bad
He's still.
Boys.
It's been a week.
Bring it right back up again, man.
20 years of friendship.
And now it's all
I've
over.
never screamed
Fucking
at
Bad
you
Boys.
over a Martin Lawrence movie before.
It started with the Sega Channel and it's ending with
Oh, don't get started on that shit.
it ends with Bad Boys.
That was
2.
strike 2.
I
That's-
can't believe you wouldn't fuck the second channel. It wanted you. You said no. All you had to do was come inside the second channel and it would still be around today. And you didn't.
Okay.
That's it. That's all he had to do. Just come in at once.
One time.
That's all it would have needed.
What could pump?
What could possibly go wrong?
Could you imagine returning that adapter to TCL?
Oh, boy.
I can explain.
I have my receipt.
Oh. So, back to one-hit wonders.
That's the one.
As you were saying,
I've been shamed. Here's just some songs that I just kind of, came across, and
This is quality audio.
This is great. This is great content.
Okay.
Woo!
It's gonna be a 2-hour episode. An hour and 30 minutes is just us fucking laughing at each other.
Okay, listen. We gotta get our shit together here.
We can get it back.
So, yai man. Okay.
I'm trying.
So, you brought up Trapped, but man, Headstrong is,
Trapped.
is a fucking one-hit wonder if I've ever fucking heard
Oh
one in
my
my
God.
life. Because you know what? I don't know anything they've ever done after that.
I don't want to know.
I own the CD. I bought this fucking CD.
But they got
Did you really?
Yeah.
they got a solid like 2 years of touring though out of that one fucking song.
Because it was a jam.
And I want to say, just kind of bringing it back to the one hit wonder thing, is I've often said to people, I wish I was a one hit wonder. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that there was like one song. I always think about this when I have some friends who are very serious actors, and they take their craft very seriously, as everybody does who wants to make it in that world. And they're like, oh, I don't want to be known for one thing. And I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't you want to be known for one thing? Like, isn't it better to be known for one thing than never to be known for anything?
Yeah.
And that one thing can sustain you, throughout your entire life if you really play it right. It doesn't mean it has to be the only thing.
No.
But that just the ability to have that one, because most people are never known for one thing.
No.
So whether it's a song, you will be able, that song can show up in commercials 20 years later. You could be on reunion, like, oh, I love the 2000s tour. And then you got a fucking job for a summer where you're playing for crowds of 600 people at like an outdoor pavilion in a rural
Somebody
community.
to this day still pays to see the Baja Men.
Yes.
Live. For some reason.
Somebody does, yeah.
Because they got shit. You're right. And every time you come up with a one-hit wonder, there's a 20% chance that when Mazda comes out with a new song, a car, their commercial will contain your song. I mean, it's what it's true.
So how about this? I have an idea.
Please, hit it.
Well-
Besides Trapped. Fuck Trapped.
Yeah.
5. I said I'd do 8.
So I have my idea, actually. What we should do, we go around. Drop a one-hit wonder. We kind
Ooh.
of... As opposed to me going through like 6 or so, then, we could just kind of...
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Mac?
So I did a lot when we asked me to be on the show here to talk about one hit wonders.
Please.
My mind couldn't really focus on what exactly I really wanted to talk about, because for me, one hit wonders can be in a number of different categories, right? So and I think they're all technically one hit wonders, but it's like, okay, so there are the common one hit wonders that you kind of hear all over the place. Then there are the one hit wonders that you fucking love. Like, they're your one-hit wonders.
There is?
They're jams.
Right?
Okay.
And then there are the one-hit wonders that you fucking hate.
Yes.
That just every time you fucking hear the first 3 notes of that song, whether on the radio or anything you're listening to, Spotify, Pandora, satellite radio, whatever, and you can't fucking hit the button fast enough to get to another song, right? So, I have a number of different thoughts on exactly how to kind of talk about those one-hit wonders. But I'll just go ahead and start with like a general one-hit wonder that kind of going back to the beginning about how the fuck was this ever a one-hit wonder?
How is this a thing?
And it was mentioned in the intro, and we've said it a few times, but I'm going to talk about Chumbawambas Tub Thumping.
There it is.
Right?
There it is.
That fucking song. I have such, because with a lot of these songs
I thought
too,
the music mattered.
I have such strong memories about when I thought, what the fuck is up with this song? When I heard it. And, I was a freshman in high school, and I was fortunate enough to play on the varsity hockey team as a freshman.
Weird flex, but okay.
A little bit. But here's the reason why I say this, is that, at the beginning of the season, everybody got to pick a song to warm up to.
Oh, that's cool.
And, you would pick your, Welcome to the Jungle, right? Guns N' Roses,
standard.
Thunderstruck, AC/DC, which kind of really became our warm up song for most of my time playing.
So WDVE
right?
in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And then there was one game on a Saturday afternoon at 6 p.m. when we were playing some team from out of town, and somebody said, "I want to play fucking Chumbawambas Tub Thumping." and we're just sitting there, and I'm just on the ice, and you're getting limber and everything, you're stretching, and I get knocked down, but I get up again. I'm like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this song right now?
You're not getting fired.
How am I supposed to
You're just getting angry at life?
How am I just I'm just indifferent.
I feel like you're just sitting there thinking about pissing the night away.
I'm like the other team is sitting over there just like, the fuck's up with these guys, and that song, and it's such a memory because it was the first, last, and only time we ever warmed up to that song. Because I think everybody had the same idea. It's like, you know what? Let's not pick this one next time or ever again. But like that song, 1997, 1998, I think is right around when that was. 97, I think, is right around the time it came out or so. I have a note here.
Nice.
It is 1997.
Yes.
That song just like sits so hard with me. And that was just one of the songs, like, and it's still big. You still go to sporting events, or you still go to, I mean, God forbid they play at weddings, but occasionally on certain radio channels they'll play it. If you're listening.
Show up on like a top 40 for moms kind of station.
It is for moms,
but this is also so like. There's another thing about, and this will probably be something maybe you guys think about when we talk about this, but I think one-hit wonders have a cycle to themselves.
Yeah,
in which
a life of their own.
Well, because when you hear the song at first, you're like, "Fuck, this song's."
It hits.
Not bad. It hits. I'm enjoying the song. Mm-hmm. And then it gets to the level of overplay where it's like, oh, fuck, they're playing this song again. Like, I don't want to listen to this. And then maybe gradually after enough time, it comes back and you're like, you know what? Yeah,
that reminds me of that time in that place.
Yeah, right? And I think certain one-hit wonders have that kind of cycle to it in which you really enjoy it, and then maybe the entire time of the one-hit wonder, you fucking love that song. It never hits, I'm sick of it, and then I'm cool with it again.
You never get over it.
Or it just stops at stage 2. It's like, oh, this is great, and oh, fuck this song, I never want to listen to it again. But yeah, that, Chumbawamba's Tub Thumping was that kind of song for me, is that, if I hear it now, I'm not like, I don't want to just swerve the car off the side of the road into a tree. But, I'll maybe turn the volume down a little bit and just kind of mindlessly drive the 3.5 minutes while the song's on. But yeah, that's one of them.
Smart. Just to kind of add into the Tub Thumping thing. So, the late 90s was a particularly special time for my mom. Because, as I mentioned earlier, she listens to songs on complete, out of the repeat. She heard that somewhere on her journey that day. She picked me up, and she took me to Borders Books, where they had the music listening stations in Borders. Mm-hmm. And we went around until she found what song it was, and started describing it to the those poor bastards at Borders, having to deal with my mom. And then she found out which one was Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. And she listened to that song for fucking weeks on end without that fucking song. And what I relate to that is we're going down Green Tree Road, and she fucking... There used to be a chain of restaurants called The Ground Round.
Oh, The Ground Round.
I fucking love
and
Ground
she
Round.
she listened to that song like 5 times between our house and The Ground Round, but you couldn't get out of the car until that last play finished. Then you went to The Ground Round.
And they played it there.
They played it there because she went right to the jukebox.
And then I was like, Mom, can I go to Blockbuster? She said, yeah. And so she took me to Blockbuster, but I couldn't get out of Blockbuster, which was 30 seconds away until she fucking listened to Tub Thumping again. So, yeah, that's iconically, I have to give you on that. That is a huge song. So, to me, though, also, I have to give it a top one-hit wonder. Bop. And now, here's the thing.
I mean, it is...
And it's a complicated issue. Because Hanson, today, in 2021, as we find out, is a very talented group of musicians that are very good. But that one fucking song will haunt them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
To where if someone's like, "Oh, did you hear the new Hanson?" I'm like, "No." And I've listened to it, but if someone's like, I says like, "Oh, did you hear?" If I say to them, "Did you hear the Hanson?" Like, "You mean the people who do bop?" I'm like, "Yeah," because that song will haunt you. I was, like elevator music for years. You still go to the grocery store. There's a 20% chance when you're reaching in for frozen broccoli flurries, the bop will come on. That or Hotel California, and you shut the thing and you put it in there. So I'd say iconic one-hit wonders. You got to go bop.
And see, when I was doing my research on this, I intentionally avoided talking about Hanson's Mbop because of just what you said. As they have grown up and have become adults.
Full-on adults.
Full-on adults at this stage.
The youngest members like our age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their music, and some of their songs in particular that I've heard, are really fucking good.
Incredible.
And I was very surprised that it would be considered that they were just a one-hit wonder, that one of those other songs didn't just, again, crack the top 40.
One of the many other songs you heard.
Yeah. Which I intentionally left them off my list for that reason, because they are talented musicians, and a lot of their stuff that I've heard recently, I enjoy. So
It's really good. Doc.
Tipsy.
Everybody in the club.
Man, that jam was everywhere.
It was.
And dude, I don't know if I've ever heard from Jaquan ever again.
I don't know if
you know what?
Jaquan's family did.
Can I be real?
Be real.
I've never known who did that song until right now.
Well, it was Jaquan.
There it is.
And
there it is.
The best part about this subject, as uneasy as I was about it, because I wasn't sure how we would do it, the best part was just going through Spotify and adding these songs, just listen to other playlists with, because I mean, you just literally go to Spotify and go, one-hit wonders,
and it's like 1,000
countless playlists come up. I'm like, all right, let me check these out. So many jams I forgot about, like that one. I'm like, fuck, this is going on one of my regular playlists. Boom, already happened.
There was nigh a club that I would go to in our club days where people were not in the club to get tipsy. They were all there for it. And that song was a part of the Pittsburgh playlist. I mean, and if you're in Pittsburgh, if you've ever gone to a bar in Pittsburgh or a club in Pittsburgh, there is the Pittsburgh playlist where there's just a dozen songs that no matter where you go,
literally only 12 songs.
It's Journey, Don't Stop Believin', it's Bon Jovi,
Living on a
Prayer, and Tipsy is on that fucking playlist. And just, you don't. And there's a song on my list that I'll talk about a one-hit wonder that I fucking hate, that was played at every Pittsburgh bar and every Pittsburgh club.
Tell us right now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's the sound of an actual note. It's not a notebook. It's not me on my phone with my digital notes. It's a single page.
It is an actual page. And that's because my cell phone is a piece of shit and holds a charge for approximately 17 minutes. So I couldn't really do that.
All right. No.
Semisonic's Closing Time.
That song.
1996.
I do know that
I
song.
can't believe that song is as early as 1996.
Right.
Because we still hear it today.
Yeah, because every single time you're leaving someplace at the end of the day, closing time. Shut the fuck up, cause this song is ending all the fun that I had, right? And that's how I feel about that song. It's like, it's never played at a time that you're not leaving someplace where you just had a great fucking time with your family, your friends, and it's just a reminder that you're gonna have to go sit in traffic now for a couple fucking hours.
376.
And just fucking wait to get out of the parking lot.
Sitting there whining. Yep. I can imagine this guy sitting there. He's sitting at the piano. And he's like, yeah, people are going to fucking hate me. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, yeah, that's on the list as far. It's iconic, but for all the wrong reasons.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you one of the positives I have. And here's a one-hit wonder, and I don't care. I don't fucking care. It's like the Super Mario Brothers to me. I don't care how fucking bad it is or how fucking early 90s it is. It's my fucking jam, and I'll rock it every time. The Proclaimers. 500 Miles.
Fucking love that song.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
I don't care. And it's like, how drunk am I and how bad is my Scottish accent about to be? Because I fucking love that. Give me a bump. That's
Absolutely.
a fucking song, dude. I don't care. And to me, Benny and June, I relate that. Even though that movie came out 4 years after that song, to me, that's that whole blurby. Someone's wearing a jean jacket and someone's walking 500 miles.
So
I fucking
what
love
year did that song come out?
That song was from like 1989, 1990.
It was-
It's technically
it was
late 80s.
late
I thought it was
But,
80s,
but Benny and June was 92, 93, so it became a hit then, and then a hit later when the trailer for Benny and June came out, which was the thing that made Johnny Depp a star.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that song, I know I've heard it in its entirety at least once or twice in my life, but it is definitely a one-hit wonder.
You've probably heard it about 1,000 times in your life.
I don't count commercials.
No, I'm not saying commercials, but you've probably it's one of those songs that if it's played in the background of everywhere you are, and subconsciously you're listening to
You're absorbing
it.
it.
You're absorbing the lyrics of that song.
Malone's.
Yeah.
I have personally been in Malone's while it was still Malone's 3 or 4 times with you while that song played. Like, I have distinctive memories of that.
Yeah.
It's just background. It just doesn't sound like anything else other than, oh, you gonna get drunk now.
It's like on a Tuesday night when I've got shit to do around the house. I'm making dinner. We're just kind of chilling.
Doing things.
I'm not paying
organizing.
attention to anything that's really going on TV, but I'm going to put The Big Bang Theory on TBS because they're going to play fucking, 3 hours of it. I'm not actively watching it, but it's just on in the background.
You absorb it in your body.
And that's what that song is. It's just one of those
Smart.
things that you've heard you've probably been walking through an amusement park and that song's just been fucking on while you're standing in line for like Millennium Force at Cedar Point or The Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood, and you're not paying attention to it. It's just always on.
I believe it. So I got one for you.
Doc, hit
Okay.
it.
And this was like, and it's sad. It's like a sad one-hit wonder to me because I feel like that band could have done more. And maybe they are, maybe they do. It just isn't hitting like main stage.
What?
Sail from Awol Nation.
Awol Nation. Interesting choice.
Because that song was a fucking jam. For me, like that song hit, and the album was really good too.
The whole first album is really good.
Now I know I'm sure they're still around. I'm sure they're still making music.
It's
but
one guy.
I knew that. I know that now.
Yeah. So here's a fun thing. My wife, the singer, there was a previous band years ago called Under the Influence of Giants, in which everyone in that band had a code name, and the lead singer's name was Awol. And he left Under the Influence of Giants and formed Awol Nation, which was his solo project, in which Sail came over. She, and by she, pronouns, pal, I mean my wife.
That's pronouns, pal.
Pronouns, pal. Refuses to listen to Awol Nation, though she loves Under the Influence of Giants because she doesn't want him to be out on his own. So it's some sort of weird fucking mental kind of block. She won't listen to Awol Nation because Awol used to be in this band that she loves. She went and saw it at like Club Cafe in like a 50-person settings, and now he's a megastar. She's like, I don't care. I'm like, it's fucking good.
It's good.
Yeah.
But has Awol Nation
a bunch
been
of
like I'm talking like, but like
He was some movie soundtrack. He had the last song there.
I can probably recommend 4 songs for you that titles I can't think of right now because I have an option playlist on my phone that you should listen to. That's Awol Nation. That is fucking awesome. They may not see and
That aren't on that first album.
That are not on that first album.
Yes,
No,
with Kill Your Heroes and
Awol
stuff.
Nation does a great job, and I didn't realize it was one person either.
guy.
But does a great job of
that's
really.
this guy. That's what he looks like.
Yeah,
weird looking,
that was
kinda ratty
not.
looking
I
dude.
did
Yeah.
not think blonde when I pictured that in my
blondie
mind.
kind of
No, bro, I thought black hair and whatever. But
you've never seen the Sail video?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Blade Runner.
right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
shot like Blade Runner with the lights and through a
Right.
thing. Yeah, that's you. You get it. Bottles in the window.
yeah. But and see, in thinking about this, I didn't really worry about bands from the 2010s.
Yeah.
Because I think there's still much of their story that could still be told.
Same.
At this point.
Same.
Especially because of how music's evolved. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need an album, you just need a song. So, but there's some great Awol Nation stuff. Some stuff you've probably heard in commercials, stuff for, like they use shit for the Olympics for Awol Nation,
did.
some of his stuff. So, but some really great things there. So I'll go ahead and say one that I think fucking it's a song from our high school days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great high school song, and I'm really surprised this band didn't have another major hit. But it is going to be the Verve Bittersweet Symphony.
That was going to be my next one because that's like
Yeah.
to me the quintessential.
I thought that's what
one-hit
you were.
wonder.
I thought that's what you were going to say before you mentioned Awol Nation, because I was like, well, I'm not going to have to just talk about that. that fucking song, when the strings hit, you know, it's so strong all the way through, right? And I just can't believe that band. And I can honestly tell you, I don't know another song that
Not
the
a
Verve
single one.
ever
I don't
put
know.
out.
Why would you?
Right.
All you need
Didn't
to know is
matter.
Bittersweet Symphony. That's
Right.
all you need
There's
to
a
know.
lot of those songs you're like, oh, Awol Nation did a bunch of good songs, or this band did a bunch of good songs. Who the fuck cares what else the Verve did?
Right.
They did Bittersweet Symphony. That's the song that you can when you get done recording that album, you just go home, you like Mr. Rogers, you take your shoes off, you hang your sweater up on there, you bang the wife, and then you just never leave your house again because you did everything you need to do.
If that's the only song you're ever going to be known for, that's a fucking great song to be known for, and like I'd be proud of that. Like even as a musician, like, you know, if that's the only one that ever fucking hits, I'm happy that's the
it.
one.
That's good.
because that
That's
song,
such a good album.
and
It's a good
the
first
song
song,
is
rather.
timeless too. Like that
Oh, yeah.
song just fucking plays all the time.
Our
And it's great.
children one day will be like, Dad, can I play you this song? And it's going to be fucking Bittersweet Symphony.
Like-
I'm like, sit the fuck down. Why tell you about something called FYE? Or as I like to say, FYE!
See, I thought you were
get
gonna,
fucking over, I swear to God.
I thought you were gonna say it was Drew who's gonna say, dude, there's a song I gotta
Oh
play
my
for you
God.
that you know. I swear to God, man.
God. So I'm going to wrap up my end of this here for a second. I'm going to drop two for you. One, so we are way earlier, like 7 days ago, way before the bad poisoning, as we like to say, happened. I asked you guys what the most commercially successful one-hit wonder of all time was. And we talked about the Macarena. Do you know what the second most successfully commercial...
Make a guess.
Yeah.
Mambo number 5.
Nope.
I gave it a shot.
I want to. So I have a cookie jar at my house that is a dog. And every time you fucking open the head of the dog to get to the cookie jar, it just starts going, "Who let the dogs out?"
No, but my toddler recently discovered that song to where she just starts shouting it out in public now. And I feel like instinct, I hate it, but instinct, she's like, "Oh, let the dogs." I go, ho, 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 ho. Like
Well, you
every
gotta
time.
bark, yeah.
Yeah. Tainted Love by Soft Cell is the second most
really?
successful one-hit wonder of all time, and that's a fucking cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that.
I didn't know that.
And it's a cover song. And it's the second most successful one-hit wonder of all time.
Who did it originally?
I have no fucking clue. I don't give a shit because we only ever talk about Soft Cell's version of it.
Yeah.
So and I brought that up, and then my list decided to lock itself. That I had only one last song to bring up to everybody, and we talked about some iconic stuff like "Tainted Love" and "Closing Time," "Bop" and "Tub Thumping."
Hold on.
What?
By the way, it was actually Tainted Love is a song composed by Ed Cobb, formerly of the American group The Four Preps, which was originally recorded by Gloria Jones in 1964.
1964.
1964.
Oh, if you don't believe that, I'm gonna listen to that version of that song that's over 50 years
Now, I'm
old.
really
now.
curious.
As you say that, Jones, I actually think that's a song a version of that I think I have heard before,
Yeah.
and just thought it was somebody was covering it now, not that it might have been the original version of it from 1964.
And now that's first of all, I'm absolutely gonna listen to it. And here's a person that was a one-hit wonder, and I kind of tucked this bad boy back in my pocket here for the last thing I'm going to mention. That is technically, as a solo artist, a one-hit wonder, as a one-hit wonder jam to mention that you can't help but mention, and that is John Lennon. Imagine. John Lennon had many number one hits as a Beatle, but
Right.
as himself, only one. So if you talk about, it's one of those songs that's almost, and a person in a song that's almost untouchable to a certain extent. You know, Imagine from John Lennon. You can't. We were talking one hit wonders. Technically, that's his one solo hit that Paul McCartney. Because every song, even if they didn't write it, even if Paul had nothing to do with it, every song was listed as Lennon McCartney.
Right.
And vice versa. But when they went solo, his only top 40 hit was Imagine. So you got to give it that whole little, there's your catch-22. What a fun expedition. You guys have any more you want to talk about, you want to yell about?
I mean, I'm just going to throw out a couple that I think are
Drop
really cool.
'em.
We don't have to go
Sprinkle.
Flagpole Sitta.
Harvey Danger.
Right Now, Flavor of the Week.
Ah.
I mean, shit, man. Remember Afro Puffs?
Yes.
Lady of Rage, man.
We gotta
Actually,
talk about,
I actually saw. I saw him, them. I think it was more of a band, like in concert. Like I remember they were. I want to say it was fucking like maybe it was like Lollapalooza. Like they kind of were one of the opening acts on that show that was with when Soundgarden. When it was I can call it Rage Garden. It was when Audioslave was headlining Lollapalooza, Jane's Addiction, and Perry Farrell and everything. But yeah, I think they're like Afro Man was like one of the first.
Afro Puffs.
Afro Puffs. Oh shit!
Not Afro Man.
Oh my
I was
God,
gonna say because I got high, it's got to be on that list somewhere.
No, do you remember that song? Rough and Tough with my Afro Puffs.
Oh,
That's old.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But,
Afro Puff was 88, 89?
that song's old as shit.
Yeah.
At least early 90s.
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, that was a jam.
God, so good. So good. Now you make me think about Afro Man because I got high.
Yeah. No, I was thinking Afro Man there.
First time I ever heard that song, I was in the drive-thru at a particular McDonald's that I know we have all visited on West Liberty Avenue. And now every time that song hits, I think of that McDonald's. And every time I go to that McDonald's, I think of that song. I don't really go to that McDonald's because I don't live near there anymore. But still, I was in that drive-thru when I heard Afro Man's Because I Got High. So,
So I have, I think it's a pretty solid list of maybe
Fire Moth,
the 10 most recognizable one-hit wonders.
Hit me.
That is, it's a part of the cultural lexicon. I think it doesn't go away. Now we did talk about a few of these. Macarena, I had it number 1 here.
Number 1 with a bullet.
Number 2, we mentioned it. Mambo number 5, right?
Can I tell you a quick story about that? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I was in high school, and I was in the video club at high school, and I had just discovered, like, that year, Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
And there was this girl, and we had a lot in common, and she said that her fantasy was to work for Saturday Night Live, for in a video club. And then that year progressed on, and I was really into Led Zeppelin, and she was really into Lou Bega.
Yeah, Lou Bega.
And she said to me this phrase, and I'll never fucking forget for the rest of my life. She's like, history will show that Lou Bega is better than Led Zeppelin. That girl
is an idiot.
I'm never going to mention her name out loud because she has to know what the fuck she's done. But I fucking remember that. I tell every person, if I'm in the room where Zeppelin comes in or Lou Bega, I mention to somebody that's the fucking, that somebody said that to me honestly. That fucking Lou Bega would outlast Led fucking Zeppelin.
That song represented the summer of 1999 for me. I was dating a girl at that time, and she fucking loved that song. And like every time that we would go out, you know, and that song came on the radio, she would turn it up and she would start dancing in the side seat and everything. And that song is and you know, fuck her now. But like that song was so ingrained in that relationship that like, you know, and I don't know if you guys have those where you have relationships where songs just represent people.
Of course.
But yeah, every time I hear that song, I'm like, well, fuck that because of Lou Bega and Mambo number 5. As we mentioned here, the Baja Men Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yeah, shout out to my daughter who's discovering that right now as if it was brand new, as if to her it was the summer of 2000. She's discovered the video, and she's discovered that in the second Trolls movie they do that in a medley, and she popped for that. She marked out for that because she knew the song before then, and then they hit that. She's jumping up around.
That's fantastic.
So shout out to my kid.
That song resonated with people our age for about a week.
Yeah.
It resonated with our parents and our aunts and uncles and our grandparents at weddings to this day. That song still has legs where that's concerned.
Oh yeah.
Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy.
Yeah.
Right?
That song, Pizza Hut used to have DJ nights on like Tuesday nights at the one in Bethel Park.
I did not know this.
and they had some DJ playing
I don't know if
stuff.
Pizza Hut did either.
No, Pizza Hut did. They did. Because I was like, my dad would take me whenever he could to stuff like that. And there was people dancing to songs.
That's so fucking weird.
And the first time I ever heard Right Said Fred was fucking pizza. I had a fucking breadstick in my hand. Anytime I think of that now, I think of a fucking breadstick.
You need a breadstick.
Which in my mind is this big. But
Yeah.
as a kid, that was about the size, But yeah, Right Said Fred, breadsticks up in my dome.
As we said, number 5 on my list here, I had Chumbawambas Thump Thumping, right? Number 6, we all know it. It'll never go away. It is Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby.
We don't mention that name on this podcast, actually, because we did enough during our Eminem episodes.
Do I need to stop, collaborate, and listen?
You need to go, Ninja. Go, Ninja, go. Yeah. There it is. We'll talk about him again when we get the Secret of the Use, which is
whole
going
thing.
to fucking happen.
God,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's going to be a whole thing.
If you think we're fighting now, I have that shit on Laserdisc.
I got number 7 on my list here. I've got Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, God damn it.
Got to throw in a little country love in
little
there.
country one.
right?
You know who also, I didn't put him on the list because I didn't believe it until I did the research. Garth Brooks is one-hit wonder. Which is one of those things that I don't know a lot of Garth Brooks, but I know he's a mega fucking star.
Yeah, he's a big star.
Garth Brooks owns the state of Tennessee. Are you sure your math is right
No,
on
he
this?
is right. He is right. Only one of the top hot 100 in the 40.
Nashville has a king. People don't know this. It is actually Garth Brooks.
And Prince is Justin Timberlake.
That's true.
Which we didn't. I just want to say, just for disclaimer, that when we talked about Backstreet Boys to NSYNC, I don't want to give any disrespect to Justin Timberlake, because Justin Timberlake is one of the few people that is allowed to come to my house and kiss my wife right on the mouth. and then also I would expect, I'd be like waiting there for my turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you don't give me fucking tongue, Justin, I'm gonna be real pissed.
I don't think Justin would be that disrespectful.
No, he
I
would
think he would absolutely.
absolutely.
And I think the hand would probably go down the back a little bit
Yeah.
and probably give
Yeah.
you a little grab in the ass there.
He would,
just-
and he'd pull my pants up the hip level.
He
for me.
would.
Like,
He
he would
would.
do that very nicely. Make sure, hey, your fly's down.
yeah.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake, keep going.
One of my personal favorite one-hit wonders. And I don't know if this is like maybe one of the top 10, but this song had legs and we all fucking rocked to it. It was Fountains of Wayne, Stacy's Mom.
Yeah,
I remember that
I
song.
bought a beer
Right?
called Stacy's Mom not too long ago.
Yeah, a lot of people probably, Stacy's mom's got it going on, right?
She does. We
She
all
does.
know somebody that song made us think of.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. If she'd given us a shot in 2003, 2002, 2004, we'd be different men today.
And the thing about a lot of these songs that I'm kind of mentioning here is that, they're referenced in pop culture.
Hold
and
on, Tom's face.
It's just, we'd be different men today. Like, would we? We're the same goddamn person.
Imagine if all of us in 2002 showed up to the same poor person's house. Hey. You had to beat away. Okay, keep going. You were really in that. I'm sorry.
And number 9 here, I got Cisco's The Thong Song.
Oh, that was the last thing I had to talk about today.
Right?
Drew Hill. We talked
That's
about
right.
it. Yep.
And then,
I swear to God, Drew Hill was like a cassette tape I bought once. I thought that was going to be a huge act, Drew Hill, and then nothing. But then Cisco came out of everything.
Cisco, yeah.
And as soon as I saw Cisco, and this is how much my mind has been poisoned by this movie, as soon as I saw Cisco with the thong song, I immediately thought about Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element. And it became linked forever. Corbin, hang on the fire, Corbin. And then it's like, let me see the thong. Like in the same fucking...
Yes.
Just suburban women at that point were just like fucking just wanted to just show us their thong.
They did.
Like thongs were just everywhere at that point. Like that song just for that period of time, if you didn't have a thong,
You got one.
you got one.
Yeah.
Because we had to see that thong, right?
Cisco had expressly
Expressly.
requested it.
and they just flocked.
Yeah. Excuse me, ma'am. Are you wearing your thong? Cisco has expressly requested it. You need to pass the thong check in order to proceed. Oh, okay. Please go in.
And then, so the last one I had here was what I was pretty difficult to kind of come up with, but I went with Mickey, 1980s.
Oh.
From Tony, I'm going to probably say the last name wrong here, but it's Basil, depending on how you say the herb. I guess.
I'm taking this.
Taking your jacket off for this.
That comes in a world of, because I had that and I had Whip It from Devo.
Oh, man.
Because that was right around the time MTV was really starting. And that's when music videos were really starting to take
Same
hold.
thing over and over again.
And I don't think those songs get over if you didn't have a music video like they did to kind of take them to that next level and expose people to it. Because, you know, those bands and really those songs, if you really kind of just take them on their own without the video with it.
Terrible.
Right. But you have the iconography that kind of go with those two. And that kind of transitions into how, you know, one-hit wonders, I think, kind of morphed as the music industry grew, as genres grew. And, you know, one of the things that I think is worth talking about is, or at least asking about, is what was the greatest decade of one-hit wonders?
That was the last question I had to ask you.
Yeah.
Now, before we do, excuse me, you had the fucking balls to mention Mickey, which I took my trademark overshirt off because I know my wife's never going to listen to this. So I feel fine to be honest with everybody in Peru and Algeria and Bosnia right now. That song makes me think of Mickey James, and yeah, I feel like I grew up the minute she showed up on our televisions, like to a certain extent, and I've never come back down. And I feel like if there's like a handful of people that I would legitimately stutter in front of, Mickey James would be one of them. But the question I had to ask is, going into, before we did this episode, if you had asked me, Mr. Brown, what's the greatest decade in the history of one-hit wonders? I would have said the 90s. So many, but then doing my research and doing stats, there is a sizable amount of data that suggests the 80s was the best one-hit wonder decade. So I would say my experience was, because I remember the entirety of the 90s. I would say the 90s, but the data speaks that says, I mean, the 80s also, disco started the 80s, and that's something we intentionally don't fucking touch. We leave disco the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Y'all can worry about disco. We're dealing with their stuff. So,
not in this house.
So that's a great question, guys. What do you think?
Well, I would say I would be, you know, pressed to say otherwise, but I would say probably the 80s, because like in the 90s, 2000s, like, you know, the MTV, BET, VH1, you know, the internet, streaming, you know, the whole nine yards, just giving people more options to see bands or experience them on a wide stage in ways that in the 80s it wasn't nearly as easy to be able to do. You know, like, an album came out, they like a band or a group or not would tour, and they'd get on the radio, maybe they'd get an appearance on late night or something, but that was about all you were going to get.
Yeah.
Right? But flash forward 1994, you got all sorts of avenues to get people to see. A lot
more.
So bands that maybe probably could or should have been, had no business going farther than they should, got more exposure and got more popular. So I think it makes more sense that there'd be way more in the 80s and there'd be a more sizable amount in the 80s.
That makes sense. Mac.
Baby Got Back was in 1992, I believe. And as a result of that, the 90s is the greatest decade for one-hit wonders.
Yeah. Okay.
I give you that.
You know, the Baby Got Back, 1992, I think I don't think anybody's ever listened to Baby Got Back and either not quoted it in some conversation that they've had with people in their life.
This is so true.
There's not a barbecue that I go to when somebody's like, do you want a hot dog? And I said, I don't want none unless you got buns, hun. Right?
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah,
it's true.
My wife can attest that I constantly, every time we go, double up, like 1,000 times, anything that makes a sound, I will do it. I've been doing it for 10 years.
There were some unbelievably obscure one-hit wonders in the 1980s. Bruce Willis had a top 40 hit in the 1980s. Rodney fucking Dangerfield had
a couple of Patrick Swayze.
Right. Had a hit in the 1980s, right? Again, Eddie Murphy had it. Apparently that was a hit.
Yeah.
even though it's much maligned and often, joked about. But I think about the evolution of music as the 90s came along, and maybe this is also because this was the time of my life where I really started paying attention to music, right?
For sure.
And growing up, being 8 years old when 1990 hit, starting to kind of develop my own identity with music versus what like my brother and my sister would want me to listen to, and music went in a really weird place in the 1990s, if you think about it.
It was a weird kind of a span from where it started to where it ended.
If you have the 80s hair band, influence starting, and then you have the antithesis of that where, the Seattle grunge starts coming in. Of course, those bands all just blow up. And, where rock music starts in the 1990s, because metal really, I think, grows in the 1990s also.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And to where it ends, because, bands like Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls and like the Wallflowers were considered rock bands in the 1990s. And if you look back and you think about what rock is, you wouldn't really think about that as being a rock band, but like Train, like they were all played on the rock radio channels.
We don't talk about Train on this show.
Well, I'm just putting them out there.
He used the phrase "my unshaven chest" in a song.
Nobody ever said that he was a lyricist of great renown.
No,
but
I don't know who the guy from Train is, but fuck you.
His name's Pat Monahan, and he is from here.
Is he? Is he from Pittsburgh?
No, Western Pennsylvania. He's a little bit north.
So Pat Monahan, fuck you. And you know what? While I'm at it, Western Pennsylvania. Fuck you.
Oh, come on, man. The Wonders are from Erie, PA.
No, that's not Western Pennsylvania. That's Northwestern Pennsylvania.
Well,
that's different. The
right.
Oneaters.
Yeah. But and then you have to also think about, I think women's music really started to get a voice in the 1990s.
Yeah, for sure.
And
late
you had
80s and the early 90s.
Right. You started to see where musical acts that didn't quite fit a definition were able to get their voices heard, whether it was like Joan Osborne or, Natalie Imbruglia. Just go ahead and pull up a Lilith Fair.
Lying naked on the floor. Meredith Brooks.
Just go ahead and pull up any Lilith Fair lineup from 1997 to 2002, and it's pretty much every one of them at least had one hit, right?
Yep. Sean Colvin.
Right? And that song, I think, won Grammys. That song was
a lot of the songs
Sunny Came Home
actually won Grammys.
Yeah, Sunny Came Home was a massive song when it came out.
It's about how much it sold, though.
Right. But, I think that, music started to really find other ways of being music in the 1990s. And a lot of the one-hit wonders, I think, really kind of lent to that. So
for sure.
And even though statistically it might not quite, because again, in the 80s, especially during the early to mid 80s, the only way you could track music was by purchasing it, or by listening to having plays on the radio.
Right.
Whereas as we go through the 90s, that whole way of being able to consume music changed as soon as we go from cassette tapes to CDs.
Yep.
And then music becomes digital, and then you can start downloading on computers. We could share it.
Start tracking it, steal it.
I can't remember who said it on. It was a musician. Maybe it was Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor said it, that he loved going to buy music because it wasn't just getting that album and listening to the music that was on it, but it was having that tangible thing in your hand, pulling the cellophane off of the disc or off of the cassette tape, having the artwork, because the artwork of the album was a huge piece, and then having the lyrics and being able to read the lyrics as you're listening to the song. You went from that and people going to, National Record Mark and
Fire!
Yes. And then, Best Buy, who ultimately ended everything.
Yeah,
did they ever?
They really did. But then going to the start of digital consumption.
Yeah.
Which then opened up new avenues and new artists to be able to go through. So, I think where one-hit wonders are concerned, I think the 90s are exponentially important for that because it really represents the transition from where we came from with music to where we are today.
So all of that together. So you say 90s?
I say 90s.
Okay. Cool. That's respectful. Well, 90s, 80s, one-hit wonders. You know, we aren't through the one-hit wonders. There's going to be plenty more. But, you know, one can only wonder how the genre of music and how one-hit wonders are going to be processed now in the age of 30-second Instagram clips and YouTube videos and stuff. But what we can tell about the future is the future of this podcast. Because what a great episode. What a great fun thing. I think we got close to the point of me proverbially spitting in your face, dog. And telling you not to disrespect the fine name of Bad Boys 2, and you not to disrespect the fine name of Return of the fucking Jedi. Like, oh my God.
I don't hate Return to the Jedi.
I know you
I'm just not going to sit there and say that it's... I mean, we're going to go ahead and... You know what? I'm not even... I'm going to save it. Because I have
a lot of Star Wars.
I have a lot of conflicting emotions about Ewoks.
2022 is going to be a really interesting year. Because I think we have plans to end the year by completely disregarding our format. And I think 2022 we're just going to say fuck it and let's just argue about shit for an entire calendar year and see if we can keep the Western Hemisphere involved, you know? But keeping people involved, one-hit wonders. How could you something so broad? I think we did well narrowing it down, only moderately mentioning Michael Bay.
Thank God.
You know, but hey, coming up next week, what do we got on tap, Doc?
We got Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat 1994.
The movie.
Film back over again,
in which its theme song was in fact a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
such a great song.
That's right.
It's a good.
I saw KMFDM live. They did not play Mortal Kombat.
Did you ask for your money back?
I did not see them on purpose. They were the opening band to another band that I was like, oh, nope, didn't play Mortal Kombat. I was totally weird. I was like, Cyrax. They never did it.
There is a band that I am a big fan of, as you may know, called Modest Mouse.
You are.
And I have seen Modest Mouse in concert 3 separate times, and those motherfuckers have not played Float On any single one of those concerts.
I saw Radiohead once, no Creep.
I can't, and I just don't understand it. I'm like, listen, I know you guys have other songs, I do enjoy them, but nothing has ever hit quite like that song. And even with me, this is a song that introduced me to you.
Yeah.
And I've been to see you 3 fucking times,
They won't do
and not
it.
once by accident you sneezed Float On.
They're
into
mad
the
at you.
microphone.
I maintain bands who do that clearly out of spite.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's a really dick thing to do. Because they know people want to hear it.
I know they played that song a gajillion fucking times in their life, and probably over a 3-year period, it was mandatory. They had no choice but to play. They had no choice but to play that song. But you know what? 15 years later, when I'm seeing you open for some fucking band that I like, play the goddamn song. You're on for an hour. You have 7 or 8 songs to play. Yeah, do it.
So yeah, we got Mortal Kombat coming up with a very special guest.
Yeah, very special guest who we will plug as we get closer because I don't want to jinx it. But
okay,
we have mentioned her about 1,000 fucking times. Yeah, easy boy.
And
easy.
After that, we're going to cover Survivor Series 1998.
Survivor Series 1998. Now, I am super excited for this because I want to see, can we keep a single wrestling show to under 5 fucking hours? But this one
is not a bad show.
Because it's a deadly game. Oh my God, so much going on. It's 1998. It's the World Wrestling Federation, and the Attitude Era is peak. I mean, literally weeks before this, they overtake Nitro in ratings and never come back.
This is such an important pay-per-view for a lot of reasons.
And let me just list off a couple of the stars that are on this fucking show.
It's star-studded.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mick Foley, Ken Shamrock, Vince McMahon, the Big Boss Man, the fucking Undertaker, Kane, Shane McMahon, and mystery people all the way throughout it.
Yeah.
So fucking stacked. And we're going to argue about it for hours or not.
Pretty much. We don't know.
Do we mention Bad Boys 2? That's a good way. You ain't never seen Bad Boys 2.
Don't see if you haven't seen
Hot
it.
Fuzz?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my thing. I asked my wife that. She saw Hot Fuzz, has never seen Bad Boys 2.
Well,
I was like, that's like serving that joke up to me on a silver platter. You ain't never seen Bad Boys 2. So, I also recently played Fable 2, so my West Country British accent is particularly terrible right now.
Awesome.
But what's awesome, Mac, the last 2 episodes,
gentlemen,
it's fucking
thank you very much for having me here. The first the episode last week was where You guys were very gentle with me. You lit some candles
And
in the
eased it in.
suite.
No big
You
deal.
guys wined and dined me. We put some Sarah McLachlan on, not the fucking sad puppy song that plays on every single commercial
Fuck
when
that
like
song.
the dogs are dying and
Maybe I
everything.
do believe I've nailed you.
But no, like the hotter stuff that you could definitely bang to, right? And then you guys took my podcast cherry, and then this episode, we just fucking got weird.
We did, man. We just started screaming at each other.
It wasn't
the rails.
It wasn't candles. We
You know-
put red lights in. Somebody's wearing a mask with
I'm
a
just
fucking
gonna-
zipper to it.
I'm just gonna say right now, I kind of got
There's a lot of
post-nut
bondage.
clarity right now. I got full on post-nut clarity. An hour ago, we were screaming at each other and shit, and I just feel like we can come back from that.
Yeah.
But I apologize to the people that were with us an hour ago when Bad Boys 2 and Return of the Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and whatever else we said. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget.
Except Green Day.
Well, we all know how you feel about Green Day.
Fuck you.
I'm with you on that one.
Fuck Trapped. Fuck Trapped. And fuck Trapped. I got 8.
Do we fuck Eiffel 65?
No, because they're blue. Oh my god. So is it on blue dabba dee dabba die, or is it blue if I were green I would die?
I think it's Dabba Dee Dabba Die.
I always thought it was too.
think
But
it-
my wife's like, I'm in need of a guy. I'm like, that's a mental shit. Don't say that at a club. Right.
Please follow us on all of our socials.
Yeah.
Specifically
Yeah, plug.
Twitter.
New Twitter.
We got a new Twitter. It's at Nothing Good Pod. That's at Nothing Good Pod.
Check us out on YouTube.
We'll usually
Facebook.
we'll put out tweets about upcoming episodes, and eventually I kind of want to put out surveys for questions or something like that
All
when
kinds
we
of-
actually
we do
get
polls
followers.
sometime, yeah.
We need followers for that, but we're working on that.
Yeah. Mac, we're going to have you back.
Yeah,
Gentlemen,
might
I
be a
would.
part of it.
We'd love for you to come back.
I'd love to be back. I have. As you guys mentioned, the Mortal Kombat episode coming up. I have, if you joined us for the Sega channel, I've mentioned my absolute fucking love for the Mortal Kombat video game franchise, which then kind of transitions to a tepid feelings of, I'll pick you up if you're at the airport, but not early in the morning, like late at night kind of a thing
Yeah.
for the movies. But I would love to talk about Mortal Kombat.
Oh, we're not going to talk about Annihilation. No.
There's no way you can't not talk about Annihilation.
It's gonna have to
see.
come up. It'll have to come up.
It'll have to come up.
Fucking
but I mean, we'll try
poor
to
guy.
obviously keep it on there. But also, fucking Survivor Series '98.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so
Everybody
good.
you mentioned, maybe with the exception of one or two, are all Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Every single person.
The lineup that WWE had at that point, not just Hall of Famers, but Hall of Famers in their fucking prime.
Murderer's row of talent right
Yeah.
there. And underappreciated. But you know what? We're going to talk about it. Next week is Mortal Kombat. And we hope you join us every single Tuesday on your favorite, wherever your podcasts are available. Apple,
Yes.
Spotify. But, hey, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. We appreciate you. Be safe out there.
Mac,
Thanks,
make
everybody.
Make a weird noise. Ooh, nothing good. Toddlers.